The widow who knocked on every door. The sky was gray. The wind was cold. Snowflakes fell slowly over the human colony. Valari walked with tired feet. Her legs shook. She wrapped her baby tight against her chest. The small alien child was silent, too weak to cry anymore. She was not from this planet. She had come here with her husband, long ago, full of hope. But now, her husband was gone. He had died in the mines, working to feed them. Since then, everything had gone worse. No job. No money. No food. Today she had to try again. She stopped in front of the first door, a bakery. She knocked. An old human man opened it. His eyes looked down at her, cold and sharp. "Please," Valari said softly. "I can clean, wash dishes, anything. I just need work. My baby, he is hungry," the man scoffed. "You aliens are always begging. Go somewhere else." He slammed the door in her face. Valari didn't cry. She had no tears left. She went to the next door, then the next, and the next. Everywhere was the same. Some humans laughed, some yelled, some didn't open at all. Her hands turned red from knocking. Her feet bled inside her worn boots. But she kept going. Her baby needed her, she couldn't stop. At one farm, a woman opened the door and threw old vegetables at her. "Feed that thing with this, and don't come back." Valari picked up the bruised food with shaking hands. She fed a small piece to her child. The baby chewed slowly, then smiled weakly. That tiny smile gave her strength. She walked farther, beyond the main street, past the markets, into the quiet lands where no one lived except one man. His name was John Carter, a human farmer. Valari stood outside his gate. She looked at the large house and barn. The land was wide and lonely. No machines, no other workers. She thought about turning back, but her baby whimpered. She knocked once, softly. No answer. She knocked again, her fingers numb. Still no answer. She turned to leave. Her shoulders dropped. Then, behind her, a door creaked open. A tall man stood there, middle-aged, rough beard, worn clothes, a quiet face. His eyes looked at her, then at the baby. He didn't speak. Valari lowered her head. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you, Are you looking for work?" the man asked. Valari froze. Her lips trembled. "Yes, please, I'll do anything." The man nodded once. "Come inside." She followed him, unsure, afraid. Inside, the house smelled like dust and wood. It was warm, but empty. Quiet. John pointed to a chair. "Sit, feed the baby, then we'll talk." Valari sat. Her hands shook. As she fed her child the last piece of bread, the baby smiled again. John watched in silence. After a while, he spoke. "I need help on the farm, cleaning, feeding the animals. No one wants to work here." Valari's voice was soft. "I will do all of it," he nodded. "You can stay in the side room. There's a stove, a bed. I'll pay you in food and money, but you follow the rules. No stealing. No lies." She looked up at him, eyes wide. "I don't steal," she whispered. "I just needed a chance." John didn't smile, but he gave her a blanket. "Start tomorrow. Rest now." Valari held the blanket like it was gold. Her baby fell asleep in her arms. For the first time in days, she was not outside. She was not in danger. Still, she wondered. Why had this human helped her? Why was his farm so empty? And why did he keep looking at the locked barn door? Outside, the wind howled louder. But inside that house, a quiet hope was born. The man with the silent farm Valari woke up to a soft knock on her door. She sat up fast, heart pounding. For a moment she had forgotten where she was. Then she remembered. The warm room, the blanket, the human man who had let her stay. Her baby slept beside her, peaceful at last. She opened the door. John stood there, holding a cup of something warm. "Morning," he said simply. "Farm's quiet early. Come when you're ready." Valari took the drink with both hands and nodded. Outside the air was cold but clear. Snow had stopped. The wind had softened. John led her around the farm. It was large, too large for one man to manage. She noticed broken machines, silent greenhouses, and a barn with a heavy lock. "Why is it so quiet?" she asked gently. John didn't answer right away. "Too many memories," he finally said. "Hard to forget things when the walls still remember." Valari didn't ask more. She started work. She cleaned out the small animal shed, milked the goats, and swept the porch. Her hands were steady. She didn't complain. Every task, no matter how hard, she did it like it meant everything, because it did. John watched from a distance. She was different from others who came before. Most humans he had hired ran off. Some stole. Some just didn't care. But this alien widow, she worked like someone who had lost everything and didn't want to lose more. That night, Valari cooked something simple from the garden. She served John first. He looked surprised but said nothing. She placed her baby in a basket beside the fireplace and sat far from him. He noticed the way she avoided eye contact, the way she flinched at loud sounds. He spoke quietly, without looking up. "You were married?" "Yes," she replied, voice soft. "He died in the tunnels. The job was dangerous, but we had no choice." John stared into the fire. "Same." Valari looked up. "My wife and daughter," John said. "Sickness took them. Fast. Before help could come. After that, I stopped asking for company." Valari didn't know what to say, so she stayed quiet. Sometimes silence was kinder than words. Then late that night she heard something. Thump. It came from the barn. Another thump. Then a strange growl. She peeked out the window. John was outside. He walked toward the barn with a lantern. His face looked harder now, older. He unlocked the heavy door and stepped inside. Valari held her breath. She waited. Watched. 10 minutes passed. Then he came out, alone, locking the barn again. She returned to bed but couldn't sleep. What was inside that barn? The next day, she worked faster, trying to push the question away. John didn't speak much, but every so often she caught him glancing at her baby. His eyes softened when the child laughed. Valari saw it, a small crack in his stone face. One day, while cutting firewood, she asked, "Why did you hire me?" John wiped sweat from his brow. "Because you knocked when no one else would dare come. This far, but others must have passed here before. They didn't look like they meant it," he said. "You did." Valari lowered her eyes. That night when her child cried, John came to the door. "Here," he said, holding out a soft old toy. A tiny stuffed creature, faded and patched. "It belonged to my daughter," he said. "She'd want him to have." Kersin Valari took it with both hands. Her lips trembled. "Thank you." John nodded once and walked away. But the next morning the silence broke. A human trader came to the farm, rough, loud, with a sharp smile. He looked at Valari and laughed. "Didn't think you'd fall that low, Carter. Taking in one of them?" John didn't respond. The trader leaned close. "Watch her. Aliens lie. They trick kind men like you. They want your land, your gold, your blood." Valari heard it all. She stayed hidden behind the shed, holding her baby close. That night she packed a small bag. She left a note by the door. "I don't want to bring you trouble. Thank you for everything." She walked away in the dark, snow crunching under her feet, but she didn't get far because behind her she heard a voice. "Where do you think you're going?" John stood there, no coat, no boots, just a lantern in his hand. Valari froze. "I didn't want people to talk bad about you." John stepped forward. "Let them talk," he said. Then he looked at her child. Come back inside. A baby's laugh. In a lonely house for years, the old farmhouse had been silent. No laughter. No footsteps running through the hall. No voice calling out, "Papa, come play." Just wind, dust, and quiet pain. But now, a small alien baby's giggle bounced through the kitchen walls. Valari lifted her child into the air, making a silly noise with her lips. The baby laughed again, louder this time. John Carter, standing near the barn window, froze. He had not heard that sound, not since his own child died. He didn't smile, but he didn't walk away either. Inside, Valari was careful with everything. She touched. She cleaned the corners no one had touched in years. She polished the dishes, mended a torn curtain, and fixed the old rocking chair by the fire. She did it not just to work. She did it to say thank you. That night, as she stirred soup over the fire, John entered quietly. He placed a small wooden box on the table. Valari looked at it, confused. "Open it," he said. She lifted the lid. Inside were old baby clothes, soft, clean, folded with care. Tiny socks, a blanket with stars, a small cap with a human name sewn on. Elsie. John looked away. "They were my daughters. She doesn't need them anymore." Valari pressed a hand to her chest. I don't know what to say." "You don't need to," John said, sitting down. "Just eat. You've worked enough today." The days became a rhythm. Work, warmth, soft talks at night, silence in between. Valari didn't ask about the barn anymore, though sometimes she saw him go there, always alone, always locking it tightly. And though John never explained, he began to trust her more. He showed her how to use the old water pump, taught her the safe way to carry feed, showed her a hidden cupboard with emergency medicine. He even let her plant a tiny garden behind the house, just for herbs. One evening, as the sun set in gold and orange, Valari placed her baby on a blanket outside. The child laughed at the sky, trying to grab the clouds. John stood on the porch, arms crossed. Valari looked up at him. "Do you want to hold him?" John shook his head. "I'm not good with children anymore." "But he's not asking you to be good," she said gently. "He's just asking to be held." John looked unsure, but after a few moments he stepped forward. He knelt. Carefully, slowly, he picked up the child. The baby giggled again and grabbed John's beard. Valari laughed. For the first time, a real laugh, light and free. John's lips twitched into the smallest smile, and somewhere deep inside his chest the stone cracked a little, but peace never lasted long. 2 days later, Valari went to town to buy oil and soap. John gave her coins and warned her not to stay long. At the market, people stared. Some whispered, some backed away. She heard the words, "Alien lover. Doesn't belong here. Just using the old fool's kindness." She said nothing. She just bought what she needed and left. But behind her, someone followed, a man. One of the traders. He spat on the ground behind her. "You're not welcome here, widow. Go back to whatever hole you crawled from." Valari didn't respond. She held her child tight and walked faster. That night, she said nothing to John. She just cooked, cleaned, put her baby to sleep. But her hands shook, John noticed. He poured her tea, sat across from her. Someone said something, didn't they? She didn't answer. He leaned forward. "Listen to me. People talk because they're bored. They stare because they don't understand. That's not your fault," Valari whispered. "You shouldn't protect me. They'll turn on you." "I've faced worse," he said. "And I don't need anyone's permission to do what's right." Later that night, as snow fell again, John stood outside the barn. He opened the heavy lock and stepped inside. Valari watched from the window. She couldn't help it. Inside the barn there was a shape. Something moved. A heavy shadow. Then, a low growl. Valari's heart skipped. She stepped back from the window, frightened. What was in there? Why did John keep it hidden? And why did it sound like it wasn't human, the storm that tested them. The sky turned black by midday. Wind howled like a wounded animal. John stood at the porch, staring at the horizon. "Storm's coming," he said quietly. Valari came beside him, holding her child close. "How bad?" John didn't answer right away. His jaw tightened. "Bad enough to rip roofs and kill cattle." He handed her a thick coat and pointed to the cellar hatch. "Take the baby. Stay underground. Don't come out until I say." "What about you?" she asked. "I have to lock everything down. Animals, tools, the barn." He looked toward the barn with a strange expression. Fear, regret. Valari touched his arm. "Let me help." John shook his head. "No. Stay with the child." But she didn't listen. As the first flakes of ice fell, John rushed to tie down the equipment. The goats screamed. One fence broke already from the wind. Valari ran to the animal shed, wrapped in her coat, baby tied to her chest. She helped lead the panicked animals into shelter, ignoring the cold biting her face. John saw her and cursed under his breath, but he didn't send her away. They worked side by side, fast, silent, focused. Suddenly, a loud crack. Part of the barn roof broke. Loose, sharp wood flew through the air. John pushed Valari down, shielding her with his body. The baby cried. John shouted, "Get to the cellar, now!" Inside the storm cellar, Valari wrapped her baby in dry blankets. Water dripped from the ceiling. The door above rattled from the wind. She rocked her child, whispering calming sounds, but her hands were shaking. Why hadn't John come in yet? What was he still doing out there? Then, through the cellar vents, she heard it. A roar. Not the storm. Something else. Something alive. Outside, John had gone back to the barn. He unlocked the door with shaking fingers. Inside, chained in the dark, was a beast, an alien animal, taller than a man, covered in silver fur. Its yellow eyes glowed in the dark. It roared again, pulling at its chains. "Easy," John said, voice steady but low. "Not now. Not yet." The creature growled, but didn't attack. It knew him. John threw it a large slab of meat and locked the barn again. But as he turned, a gust of wind slammed the door shut, hitting his shoulder hard. Blood ran down his arm. He limped back to the house. The next morning, the world outside was broken. Trees had fallen, fences crushed. The greenhouse had collapsed completely, but the house was still standing. Valari came out with her baby in her arms. Her eyes searched everywhere, then saw him, John lying near the porch half buried in snow. "John!" She dropped to her knees beside him. His face was pale. One arm was twisted wrong, his jacket torn. "I told you to stay inside," he whispered, weakly. "And let you die out here alone?" She snapped, tears falling now. She pulled him up slowly, dragging him inside. Her baby cried in the background, sensing the fear. She cleaned his wounds, bandaged his arm, fed him soup, changed the firewood. When he tried to get up, she pushed him down. "Stay still," she said firmly. "You saved us. Now let me save you." That night, John lay in bed, half awake, half dreaming. Valari sat beside him, holding his hand. Her baby slept beside the fire. "I know there's something in that barn," she whispered. John's eyes opened. "You saw?" "I heard." He didn't speak for a long time. Then finally he said, "It's called a makar. Found it half dead years ago during a job off-world. Was supposed to be killed, but I couldn't do it." Valari frowned. "Why keep it hidden?" "Because people would fear it. Like they fear you. Like they fear anything different." He turned his head slowly. "But it saved my life once. During a cave collapse. Dragged me out." Valari was quiet. Then she said, "Even monsters can be kind, if given a chance." John gave her a tired smile. "Maybe that's why I hired you." The storm passed, the sky cleared, but something had changed. They were no longer just Strangers helping each other. They were survivors. They were a team. And maybe even more. Whispers in the market. The sun was back, but peace did not return with it. After the storm, the fields began to heal. Snow melted slowly. The animals calmed. The air smelled of wet earth and new grass. John's broken arm was healing too, slowly, painfully. Valari stayed close, cooking, cleaning, working double. She said little, but her hands never rested. Her baby crawled on the wooden floor, giggling again, now stronger. The house, once dead and cold, felt alive again. But the world outside hadn't changed. And soon, it came knocking. John handed Valari a small bag of coins. "Go to the market," he said. "Buy nails, cloth, and more feed. Get something sweet for the baby, too." Valari hesitated. "Are you sure? What if—" John looked her in the eye. "You've earned your place here. Let them see that." She nodded, but her heart was heavy as she left. The market was loud, busy, full of voices. Human farmers, traders, sellers, and travelers all moved through the stalls. Valari kept her eyes down and held her baby close. She bought what was needed, staying quiet, polite, but whispers followed her. "That's her. The alien living on Carter's land. He lets her live in the house, you know. Probably warming his bed, too. Disgusting." She kept walking, holding back tears. One man stepped into her path, the same trader from before, the one with the sharp eyes. "Well, well," he smirked. "The alien servant returns." "I'm just here to buy things," Valari said softly. "Oh, we know," he sneered. "Carter's little helper. Tell me, does he scream your name at night or just grunt like a beast?" People laughed around him. Valari didn't reply. She didn't cry either, she just walked away. But behind her the whispers grew louder. When she returned home, John was repairing a fence with one good arm. He looked up and saw her face. "You heard things," he said. Valari stayed silent. "They're just noise," he added. "They don't matter." She placed the bag of feed down. "They matter if they come to your door with fire." John stopped. Then he said something she didn't expect. "If they come with fire, I have something bigger behind that barn door." Valari stared at him. "You'd use the macaw to protect me?" "I'd use it to protect my home," John said firmly. "And you're part of it now." Her breath caught. Then slowly she whispered, "They say I'll ruin your name. I say you're saving my life." That night, Valari packed a small bag again, just like before. She stood at the door in silence, staring out into the night. John walked in, eyes narrowing. "You're leaving," he said flatly. "I don't want to be the reason they hate you." He stepped closer. "They already hated me. I was just a quiet, broken man with ghosts in every room." He placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "Now there's laughter in my house. Warm food. A baby's smile. You didn't ruin anything." She turned to him. "Then tell me why you really helped me." "The truth." John was quiet. Then he said, "Because when I saw you knocking on my door, hungry, holding your child, I saw a mirror. I couldn't save my own family," he said. "But maybe I could help save someone else's." Tears rolled down Valari's cheeks. She dropped the bag, and for the first time, she let him hug her. Outside, the wind carried. No snow, but it carried something else, danger, because behind closed doors, angry humans were gathering. "They're taking our jobs. They're taking our homes. That alien witch must go." And soon torches would be lit when he called her family. The knock on the door was hard, angry. John opened it with one hand still in a sling. 5 men stood outside holding tools, like weapons, shovels, axes, iron rods. The trader from the market stood in front. "She's not one of us," he said. "You're making a mistake keeping her here." John stared at them. "She's done nothing wrong. She's an alien widow. Her kind should live in camps, not on human land. You've forgotten your place, Carter." John didn't move. You're standing on my land. Speak carefully. The traitor's eyes narrowed. We came to warn you. Get rid of her, or next time we come with more. He turned and walked off. The others followed, muttering. John shut the door. His jaw tightened. His good hand shook. Valari had seen it all from the stairs. I told you, she said softly. They won't stop. John didn't look at her. Then neither will I. The next morning, he hitched up the old wagon. His arm still weak, he tied it slowly. Valari stepped outside. Where are you going? Town meeting. Every landowner will be there. Her heart dropped. Don't go, they'll shout, maybe worse. John looked her straight in the eyes. Let them shout. The town hall was packed. Farmers, traders, even the mayor. Everyone sat on old wooden benches, the room buzzing with tension. John walked in alone. The whispering started instantly. That's him. Alien lover. Fool. He stepped to the front. The mayor cleared his throat. John Carter, you've been called to explain why you're sheltering an unregistered alien worker on your farm. John stood tall. She's not a worker. Murmurs spread across the hall. She's a widow, John continued. A mother. A better worker than any of the men you've hired. The traitor stood. She's an alien. She doesn't belong here. John raised his voice. She belongs where she's safe, where she's valued. That place is my home. Are you saying she's family? Another man scoffed. John didn't blink. Yes, I am. Silence. The mayor shifted awkwardly. You realize what this means, Carter? You may lose trade, support. Your land rights may be questioned. Then so be it, John said. I've lived alone with ghosts long enough. I'd rather lose land than lose what's left of my heart. He turned around and walked out. Back at the farm, Valari stood by the window, her baby in her arms. When she saw John riding back through the fields, she ran out to meet him. She saw his face, calm but tired. They know, he said. I heard, she whispered. I told them everything. You're not leaving. I won't let them scare you again. Valari's lips trembled. They'll punish you. John looked at her baby, smiling, reaching up from her arms. He stepped forward and gently placed his hand on the child's head. Then I'll take the punishment. That evening, the farm was quiet. But something had changed. Valari made soup. John helped her stir with his one good hand. She laughed when he dropped a spoon. He smiled, really smiled, for the first time in years. After dinner, Valari spoke softly. You called me family. I meant it, he replied. Even if I'm not human, you're kind, strong, brave, that's what matters. She looked at the fire, eyes glowing. My husband once said, no one is truly poor if they have someone to care for. She turned to John. Thank you for caring. John didn't reply. He just reached over and placed one strong, rough hand gently over hers. And in that simple touch, everything changed. But outside the quiet home, the wind carried new whispers. The traitor hadn't given up, and this time he wasn't coming alone. He was coming with fire. They worked the land, together. The fire came just before sunrise. Valari was in the kitchen warming milk for her child when she smelled smoke. John had already seen it. He stood on the porch, shotgun in one hand, sling still on the other arm. His face was calm, but his eyes burned. At the edge of the field, the traitor stood again, this time with 12 men, all holding torches, clubs, or tools. Angry faces, cold hearts. One man lit the edge of John's wheat field. Flames rose fast. This is your last warning, Carter, the traitor shouted. Send her out or we take everything. Inside the house, Valari clutched her baby and stared at the rising fire. She ran to John. We have to run. Take the baby, please. But John didn't move. If we run now, we'll keep running forever. They'll burn it all. Then they'll learn what happens when a man protects his home. The traitor stepped forward. She's not worth it, Carter. You'll lose everything. John took a step too. I already. Lost everything once, he said, and I survived, but I won't lose them. Valari came out beside him, holding her child. She spoke clearly. I'm not hiding anymore. I worked this land. I fed your kind. I never took. I gave. One of the men lowered his torch, another stepped back, but the traitor only grew angrier. He raised a club, then burn with her. He ran forward, but the barn door slammed open. A roar shook the sky. The Makar emerged, towering, growling, eyes glowing in the smoke. The men froze. The traitor stumbled back. What the hell is that? John's voice was calm. My secret weapon. The beast walked slowly to John's side and stood between him and the crowd. It didn't attack, but it didn't need to. The message was clear. Touch them, and face me. The fire crackled in the field, but no one dared move. One by one, the angry men backed away. The traitor, now pale, dropped his torch and ran. Silence returned. Only the wind and the crackling fire remained. John turned to Valari. Fetch water. Together they ran back and forth with buckets, saving what they could. Neighbors saw the smoke. Some came, not to destroy, but to help. By noon, the fire was gone. The field was damaged, but the home still stood. The next day, the mayor visited. He stood outside the house with papers in hand. John stepped out, Valari behind him. We heard what happened, the mayor said. The traitor will be questioned, and we've made a decision. He handed John a letter. Full recognition. Valari's name on the document. Legal work permit. Protection. A place. She's registered now, the mayor said. No one can question her right to be here. She's one of us, and if you still want her to be. John looked at Valari. I do. She smiled through her tears. So do I. Seasons passed. The field healed. So did the house. The Makar, now calm and trusted, roamed freely, more dog than monster now. John built a swing under the tree. Valari taught her child to walk on soft earth, and together they planted a new field, side by side. No longer human and alien, just family.